I had an idea for a show, but first I needed a table, a backdrop, and a host with a microphone. That's me. I'm Thomas J. Beleza, and this is Let Me Be Round With You, a show where discussions are explored through civil conversation. So I found 4 people I like and decided to see where today's topic goes in hopes we can inspire positive dialogue. Hello, welcome to Let Me Be Round With You. This is Thomas J. Beleza, and we're in for a little treat today because normally our episodes will have 3 to 4 contestants involved in a debate, but however, I decided to do a nice little gift for the audience, this one-on-one, and I figured I'd bring on somebody I thought could potentially push back on the debate strategy that is known as the Thomas J. Beleza way. And I was like, you know who's good for that? My buddy, who I've known for a long time, Mr. Matthew Huttle, everybody. Hey, Matt, what's up? You like that, huh?
A round of applause from myself. Hello. Tom, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's what I do. You know, I was like, let me have a guy that I know would be thankful to be on this show. And just for the audience to understand, what's going to happen today is I'm going to we're going to have a debate, Matthew and I, on something that came up. And I've known Matthew for a very long time. We've far longer than we can even, because we're so old, we're not even remembering anything. But ultimately, it's going to be about
you've got more evidence of that age than I do, but it's okay.
Oh, well, you're a ginger. You don't have a soul, so you don't really age.
I don't age until I die, actually.
Yeah, that's it. Once you die, you just turn into the guy from Indiana Jones. He chose poorly. But for anyone listening, it's going to basically be about a 30-minute debate. Matthew will present his position, I'll question his position, then we'll go back and forth a little bit. There'll be a 2-minute per section clock. You won't see it on the screen, but I will have the clock on my own for.
And I will trust the clock.
Yeah, it's. I promise you, I am not a liar. I am. I've never lied, except for with a woman. All right. So, on top of that, though, I would like to also add that, like I said, Matt and we've known each other for quite some time, and. He has a TikTok, and he had posted something on TikTok, tagged me about 6,000 times, and I was like,
5 is 6,000.
Well, if you do your math correctly, it felt like 6,000. Yeah. And he brought up a very interesting position, and I was like, let's not go back and forth on TikTok. No one cares. I was like, I have a platform, a 4M, and I was like, let's get you on. Let's go back and forth and let's make some noise. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And so this is why we're here. And Matthew, I just want to say thank you for jumping on, knowing that I am a self-proclaimed genius. And just for the record, I
was really, really hoping you were going to say master debater.
I'm not allowed to do that anymore because I have to stay focused and creative.
Very good. So that's it. I won. Goodbye.
Yeah. Well, you didn't win with me being sarcastic.
Oh yeah, that's true.
All right. So for anyone watching the show, basically, like I said, what's going to go on? We're going to start the episode, and Matthew is going to basically create his position. All right, and to be clear. If his position is not the position from the TikTok conversation, I will stop him and I will have a conversation like an adult with him and say, that is not the position you had created. Mm-hmm. Why don't you try that again, buddy? All right. Okay. Oh, by the way, I didn't do any prep work for this. I'd like to put that out. This is off the cuff. But Matthew, did you or did you not do any prep work?
I did a little prep work so that I don't misrepresent the information presented. There we go.
All right. And everybody knows
I don't want to pull anything out of my ass.
Oh, well, when they hear the position, they will realize you have. Now, well, actually he didn't because he's not allowed to do that because it stifles his creativity. But I will say this though, the people who listen to this show, I only debate subjects that I am highly well versed in. So that's That's why my hand and arm hurts. All right. So, Mr. Matthew, who, by the way, I think is also a self-proclaimed genius.
Thank you,
He's
sir.
he's going to go in. Oh, and just so you know, this is how you spell his name if you're watching the episode. If you want to look him up, I believe what's your thing? Heroesbreath.com.
That's my brand. That's my website. Heroesbreath.com. Yeah.
All right, excellent. Heroesbreath.com. And just so you know, he wears a Captain America suit, so you know he knows what he's talking about. All right.
Actually, I sold the suit.
You sold it? All right.
I sold it to my ex-wife.
Oh, she can't fit in that thing.
I
She's
really
like a
wanna see her
third
try.
your height. She's like right? She's like tiny, right? She's short.
The sleeves past her fingers. Yeah, it's great.
Oh my god. And then her husband is like twice your height, right? Like he's super tall, right?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Matt, here you go. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes. All right. I'm gonna go starting now. Go. You're gonna get 2 minutes to basically state your position and go.
Okay, my position is that pornography is a lot more dangerous than people think. It is basically, it acts on the brain like any hard drug or even any light drug. And that the way we engage with it as harmful to ourselves as men, it reduces our creative ability, makes us passive, and as I stated, hopefully this is still within the parameters, but it's not just porn, it's also what people are starting to call pornography culture. The way it permeates our lives, hookup culture is, I guess, another word for it. So pornography, meaningless sex, I believe is dangerous to our minds, to our consciousness, and to our society, from a personal to a more basically from the microcosm to the macrocosm, microcosm of the individual, the macrocosm of society.
And that's it. That's less than you did that in a minute.
This is my elevator pitch. Otherwise, if I keep going, I'm just going to go in circles, and then it becomes a real circle jerk.
All right. So just to be clear, so the audience understands, I'm going to read back basically the bullet points. Porn is dangerous and basically acts on the brain like a hard or light drug. Is that accurate to what you said?
Yeah.
The way we engage with it is harmful to ourselves as men. Is that correct?
I should probably say as humans, but more importantly, as men. That's the work I focus on.
Right. We're going to get to that.
Okay.
All right. It stifles with our creative energy. All right. And hookup culture, including self-pleasure, is a part of your position of porn being dangerous.
Yeah.
All right. Hookup culture, including self-pleasure, is included in the porn is dangerous category. All right. That's nice.
Yeah.
All right. By the way, if anyone's listening to the, we'd love to hear your comments in the. It's not live, but I like to read as we go. All right. So now we come to the best part, which is, Mr. Matthew, you have to prove your position, which, by the way, is porn is dangerous and basically acts on the brain like a hard or light drug, which in turn stifles the creative energies, including the hookup culture and the self-pleasuring. Go ahead. Prove that porn is dangerous and basically
All right. So here's where I have to turn to my
go.
All right, here's where I have to turn to a little bit of my research, so I'm not pulling anything out of my ass when I say that when exposed to a rewarding stimulus, I'm actually reading from fightthedrug.com. When exposed to a rewarding stimulus, the brain responds by increasing release of the neurotransmitter.
Wait. Pause.
Well, what?
You can't read. It's a debate.
All right.
The only thing you can do is take notes. Look at this.
Okay.
I'm already you get deducted points from that.
I lose points.
Well, technically in a debate, yeah, you would get graded on the fact that you're like 1 second, you take out your phone, you're like, it says here.
Wait. I I was under the impression that within debates you can quote research.
You can quote research, which is
Quoting.
based on studying, but
Yes.
not reading verbatim off the internet. Because if that's the case, I'll just open up 600 windows and now I'm not beating you in a debate. I'm just
Okay.
recycling data.
Okay. You know what? Fair enough.
I'll reset it. I'll give you the whole 2 minutes again. But I feel
I appreciate
if
it.
you're going to read,
You know what? And I'm going to be dead honest. This is my first formal debate. I've never done this before.
I
Not with
noticed.
rules and points. It's just, yeah, obviously, like standing in a backyard with drinks in hand and going
Yeah.
round for round. That's one thing. That's like a no holds barred backyard dirty rumble. I'm like, holy crap! There's rules. There's like lines in the road. All right, all right, all
There are
right. This is
rules.
a
There are rules.
little different for me, but
Yeah,
yeah. All
we're
right,
not going
cool.
to be like, well, Google says. Listen, this is from my head. I'm reading this from my head. All right. You ready?
All
I'm
right.
going to give you
Now
2
that,
minutes.
now that I understand the parameters.
All right. But if I see you reading, and I can tell the difference between you reading and not reading,
Okay.
I just don't cheat.
Close
Because
the
I
window.
will open up every window I have. I have 3 monitors.
I just close the window. Well, see, I'm not as bougie as you. I only have one.
Don't make up words. Bougie. I can't even look it up. Bougie. All right. You ready? 2 minutes. Go.
Okay. So the brain is a incredible machine, and it actually, when our behaviors are somewhat tailored by our response to stimuli, and when you're giving the brain artificial stimulus, something basically off a screen, you're creating a neural pathway that your brain starts to associate what's on the screen with the pleasure. And the more that pleasure is put in front of you as a biological entity, especially as a man, you starting to wire your brain for that stimulus only. So the real world starts to become further and further away from you. You start to basically zero in on that as your only way to get that pleasure. And you're going to look for more and more increasingly titillating stimulation, because that dopamine response is going to start getting deadened as time goes on. And long-term studies have proven that just like heroin, meth, cocaine, other hard drugs, the brain scans of long-term hardcore porn users show the same kind of wear, literally dead and gray matter, holes in the brain. So it is actually physiologically, neurologically dangerous to a person to be used way too often, which of course we have way too much of it in our society. So that is going to reduce creative flow. That is going to reduce our physical energy. And if you want to get into the Chinese Eastern medicine side of it, that actually does reduce your Jing, as I stated in my TikTok. So it is dangerous. And of course, hookup culture, just being able to swipe right, go find a stranger, bump uglies and then disappear, also creates a similar response in the brain, to the point where reality just starts to crumble and real meaningful.
All right, that's 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes.
Okay, got
it. All right, just so I understand,
Okay.
your proof
Mhm.
that porn is dangerous and basically acts on the brain like a hard or light drug, including hookup culture and self pleasure, will stifle creativity and creative energy for humans, but mostly men, because those are your clients. So you already know it's going down, right?
I do. I've played chess before, and I've won once in my entire life. Oh no, three times.
That's right.
So
That's
I
right.
know what's coming.
If it makes you feel better, every time I play chess, I purposefully lose the first couple of times until they get egotistical, right?
Mhm.
Until they're like arrogant, and then I go, okay, one more, and then I'll do the 3-move win every time they lose. All right. So your proven position is that the brain is a machine. I agree with.
Mhm.
Our behaviors are somewhat tailored by stimulation or stimulated material, which I
Right.
also agree with, by the way. because information
Science. Yeah.
can stimulate, but
Mhm.
using scientific terminology makes not a proven argument. All right.
Okay.
When you are given artificial pleasures, which by the way, I will be asking you, so I'm going to give you a heads up on that. Okay.
Mhm.
Artificial pleasure. All right. Basically, the more you do it, the more the brain needs to be stimulated by specifically the artificial pleasure,
Mhm.
the non-real stuff,
Mhm.
the non-real stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's artificial.
It's artificial.
It's fake.
It's not real.
It's not real.
It's not real. Just like a Marvel movie. It's not real.
Do you want me to give you the shovel? Okay. So, and you become further and further from the feeling of the stimulation, the more artificial pleasure you indulge in, therefore causing the dopamine effect, which, by the way, is based on cocaine use. Cocaine blocks, you're not experiencing the same dopamine pleasure. You need more and more to get back to where you were, but you never actually hit it, right? And this creates dead gray matter within the brain, which has been proven with certain hard drugs.
Mhm.
And I know what article Matthew's talking about when it comes to porno. However, it's not the porn, but we'll get to that. It will reduce, and all this reduces the creative flow, therefore costing you, what do you call it? Zing? Jing?
Jing.
Jing. You don't want to get that jing. And basically swipe right and bump the uglies with the Tinder culture or grinder in your case. And
Good. I didn't expect that.
So did I get that right?
Yeah.
That's your stuff in a nutshell. All right.
That was good. That was slow and subtle. I like it.
Now, I got some questions for you.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Are your questions timed, or is my response timed? See, again, I'm learning the rules on all this.
The questions aren't going to be timed because it's to clarify.
Okay.
We need to clarify your position, and not only your position, but your proof. We need to clarify that, so the audience needs to understand where you're coming from. All right. So, the devil's advocate, like when we go back and forth, that's when we start timing me, okay? Because that's when I start because my position is simple. I don't agree with it. All right.
Hey, I really thought when you mess with the curtain, I thought you were going to pull out like a little devil's horn, like a little hat or a little pitchfork. It's like devil's advocate. Close enough. Close enough.
All right. So, just to be clear, Mr. Matthew.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I need to be on this side. All right. Okay. Now, when you say artificial, what do you mean artificial?
Digital. Or
so that's not real.
It's an image of what's real. I mean,
so images aren't real.
No, images are representations. All right,
so
you can use any format. It could be what?
So you just got to answer the question.
Yeah, I was gonna say it could be any format. It doesn't necessarily have to be on a phone or a computer. It could be paper. It could be VHS, Betamax, whatever it is. It's something that's not something that you're not engaging in. You're engaging in by proxy.
Okay. So you, just so I understand, you're stating that images of nudity or sexual activity, videos of nudity or sexual activity, right? And also to add the self-pleasure is all forms of artificial pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay. What your statement is leading me to believe, right, is that I can never go to a museum because museums are filled with naked statues, which based on artificial would make it artificial. They're filmed with paintings that have nudity in it. And just because it's a painting doesn't mean that it's not artificial based on your position. Correct? Is a statue, is the statue the same as a photo for you? The same as a painting is?
If that's, I mean, I really hope you're not that guy who cranks one out
we didn't say crank one out yet. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. So if I, as a person, was
Mhm.
profoundly entranced in the
Mhm.
joy of ancient old art that
Mhm.
is filled with nudity, would that be
Mhm.
considered being addicted to quote unquote porn or artificial pleasure?
If it's hitting that same spot in your brain that,
Yeah. All right.
the
Keep
hard
saying it.
the weird midget porno, whatever people are
Yep. Yep.
watching,
Keep
whatever the
going.
kids are into these days, if it's doing the same thing to your brain, then yes.
Here it goes, guys. All right. So now that we have got you agreeing that the pleasure part is the element that makes it identical, right? So if I look at porn or I look at paintings, but I'm having the same pleasure,
Mhm.
what is the issue with people who are highly religious, who spend and give their time to their Lord and Savior and feel the same pleasure for that feeling of their religious belief? And to feel that again, they need more religion and have to give more of their time, therefore stifling their creative endeavors because it affects the brain by creating the gray matter, because they are now limiting their experience of the real world to experience the artificial world of faith, because we know that faith is an intangible thing. Would that be on the same level?
No.
Oh, so you can enjoy something and have pleasure with it and
Mhm.
want to experience it as much as possible. It just can't be nudity.
Mm-mm. No,
Can't
that's
be
not the
sexual.
issue. No, that's actually not the issue.
What's the issue?
The issue isn't that pornography by itself is any worse than any drug. You
Okay.
wouldn't link cocaine to religious service
Wait, pause,
because
pause, pause.
okay.
Are people addicted to religion to the point where they literally uproot their life and change themselves, therefore ostracizing people that they used to love
Mm,
because of religious purpose? Does that happen?
not for pleasure.
So the person who kicks everyone out of their life for
Mhm.
their faith so they can indulge their faith, they don't actually enjoy the faith that they're indulging in? They
No.
don't
I'm
enjoy
I'm not
cleaning their
saying
life
they
of negativity so they
no.
can be positive with their faith. Is that what you're saying?
That's the problem here, is you're missing
Yeah.
another element.
What's the element?
Okay. When you're talking about I understand because you're coming at it from outside of
I'm
a
using
religious
logic.
belief, right? But you're coming at it from outside of the religious experience because it is not simply a pleasure response when it comes to faith.
Wait,
Faith
pause.
goes beyond the pleasure response.
I am highly religious.
Are
I
you?
am at 1 billion%. I could probably say I'm more religious than 98% of the population of Earth. The difference is I'm not a fanatic where I push it on people. So
Okay.
the way I live my life is through my religion and through my faith. All right.
Mhm.
And I have extreme pleasure to that. And I go out of my way to maintain the regularity of the parameters that make my faith and religion a part of my life, which
Okay.
means I am acting upon it with the same intent as I need to get coke or heroin. I need to feel the glory of what I do through my religion and faith, to feel good about my connection to that. And therefore, it is pleasure. And that is why I am using religion as an example of pleasure, to the point where we actually disrupt our lives so we can feel the pleasure of our religion. And some people do it on a level that is insane. They give all their money away.
Yeah.
They right. I don't believe living as a monk is insane, but they will give away all their earthly possessions. And right now, wouldn't that be even more extreme? than just enjoying porn?
Those are indeed extreme examples, and I can't speak for every person who's been in those circumstances. But I honestly think that the pleasure from that you get in terms of a biological stimulus. Let's take drugs and porn out and add food. The
Okay.
way you get the
Yes,
same
let's use
pleasure
food.
from food, but at the same time, you do need to eat to survive. And I think religion, spirituality, whatever you want to label it as, is a necessity for survival in a sense, not maybe not physically, but intellectually, morally, in deeper ways that go beyond just what we can measure in a laboratory or measure with brain scans.
Well, I'd like to push back on that a little bit. Uh,
Please.
what about people who are not religious, agnostic, or
Hmm.
atheists who are A, highly successful, Ricky Gervais, highly charitable, highly organized, highly compassionate, um,
Hmm.
and highly motivated in creative ways? Would that not discredit the fact that people need religion? You
Hang
did
on.
say need,
I did say need.
which
I
means
think
if you
those.
don't have it, you are incapable of being a whole person or capable of moving forward.
I often find, and again, now we're going to start getting into the minutia of individuals' behavior.
Yeah, it's called debating.
Yeah.
Because we're
Have you,
slowly breaking apart your position.
that's fine. Have you ever noticed? I'm going to
Yes.
ask you this. Have you ever noticed how far quote unquote non-religious people go to prove that their lack of need of faith?
No.
It's basically trying to prove a negative. Wait,
No,
what?
that's a bias answer that I will happily discredit. The reason is because your experience may have, and I am not next to you at all times, but so may is an appropriate word. Your experiences may have dealt with individuals that have to prove their atheism or their agnostic beliefs as being okay, and that they are fine as individuals. That does
Mm.
not necessarily mean that is the norm, or that is a valid qualifier for your position, because it's probably a minority element. Like, for example, Ricky
You
Gervais,
mean like
just
a
to go
loud
into it.
minority?
What?
You mean like a vocal minority?
Well, like, yeah, like the vocal minority. I'm not saying minority. Like, our audience is much smarter than that. Okay, all right.
Just
Uh,
checking in.
so Ricky Gervais, as an example, doesn't go out of his way to defend his position, but he does have casual conversations of filled with politeness. For example, with Stephen Colbert, he says, "So why don't you believe in God?" And he goes, "Well, there are 3,000 gods. The difference between you and me is I don't believe in one more God than you. You don't believe in 2,999 gods, and I don't believe in that one more God." And he's not going out of his way to prove his position.
Mhm,
He's still being respectful, compassionate, and he's well versed in understanding it.
mhm,
But he also doesn't go out of his way to create a show. In fact, a lot of his shows are highly religious based. Afterlife, if you ever watched that, it's about
mhm,
dealing with the death of a loved one.
mhm.
The invention of the lie. That movie is about
Invention of
questioning
lying, yeah.
morality. So you know, but he's like, we don't know, and it's okay. And he doesn't go out of his way to prove to everyone why you should. He doesn't go, you shouldn't believe in God. He goes, I don't, and that's it. And that, I would feel, is a more common response, uh, just based on the fact that there are not shows dedicated to proving agnosticness or atheism is we're good people, like we're doing fine being like there are but
Mm.
there are plenty of programs, shows, avenues, forums, buildings, gatherings, and other cult-like elements that influence others through religious uh, uh, um, rhetoric,
Okay.
therefore disproving that atheists and agnostic people are going out of their way to be like, no, I'm happy, I'm fine. What are you talking about? Whereas religious people are going out of their way to A, convert you to save your soul, B, proving that they are good people, and C, I don't mind if I die, but I don't want to die. I thought heaven exists.
Oh, okay. I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh God, what was his name? That one Irish comedian is like, oh, death's coming. Put on the funny hat. Um,
Yeah, you're talking about Bill. What's his face?
I'll remember it later. I'll remember it 2 a.m. So
Text
yeah,
me. I got it.
I freaking will. Um, so I think we went off down a rabbit hole. Where was the original question? Because I don't want to miss the point.
Well, the point was you were trying to deflect the point by saying people who are agnostic and atheists go out of their way to prove that they are fine when they in reality may not be, right? And I had to disprove that with examples, because that's the thing. Deductive reasoning is based on not necessarily anecdotes or or like I have experienced, but using prime truths, right? So, but I'd like to move on real quick.
Yeah.
You also said self pleasure
Mm.
is considered artificial. You're considering that artificial pleasure.
See, that's
Yeah,
that's a sticky question.
it can get sticky.
Fuck. Ambiguity is the word I'm looking
Oh,
for,
all right, all
and
right.
that does leave things ambiguous. Um, and I want to make sure that we didn't leave anything ambiguous. So self pleasure, artificial. In terms of the stimulus being generated,
Yeah.
so what you're looking at,
Uh-huh.
exciting you physically,
Yeah.
and using your hand to relieve that to relieve that physical urge, to
So
relieve that
somebody
physical.
pleasures themselves not looking at anything or thinking of anything sexual. That's okay. That doesn't cause your brain to deteriorate and form gray matter and reduce your creative
Well,
gene.
actually, I mean, if you think about it, think about it this way: if you
Mm.
constantly pleasure yourself
Yeah.
just with your hand, just with the pure physical stimulation,
Yeah.
eventually that response will start
Yeah.
being reduced,
Okay.
or you get a boner every time you look at your own hand.
Excellent. Which isn't a bad thing. Now, uh,
Depends on your profession.
now let's go a little closer.
Okay.
I recall you stating that maybe not in this, but in the TikTok that you should find a healthy relationship with a woman
Mm.
to explore your sexual energy, but being addicted to the woman you love and having, you know, uh,
Yeah, there's no way
you
we
lay
can't.
on your back, I'll lay on top of you, sex, missionary, which by the way is Christian, because it's missionary. Get it?
Yeah, I get
Christian.
it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
missionary position does not indeed stifle the creativity or turn you,
Mm.
unless, are you not allowed to have sex like X amount of times if you're with somebody you love and you're married to, or you could do it every day with them.
As often as you like,
Okay.
for the reason. Now here's where like science and modern science
Yeah.
and ancient science start to come together,
Yeah.
or
Ancient
start to cross
science. That's right.
paths.
Yeah.
Ancient
Ancient.
science, I call
Yeah.
it ancient science because it's still being used today.
Yeah.
A
Math.
lot of, yeah, math. uh,
But not you have to
mathematics.
drill a hole in someone's head because they have the demon giving them a headache.
So in ancient, she's gonna keep throwing me off.
Ancient science. Well, not everything, just the things I need for my argument. All right, good.
It's just the things I need for my argument. Acupuncture is actually where I was deriving a lot of that from, because it is
Oh,
still
good.
used. Acupuncture is
Yeah.
still used today, almost completely unchanged after 6,000 years. So it's not exactly hokey folk medicine.
Yeah.
And those ancient texts actually state that when two people are actually sharing
Yeah.
that energy together,
Mhm.
Actually, I should put a caveat in that. That's actually more Vedic medicine. That energy actually stays more bound together, even though the physical matter is still spent. So the
Yeah.
Jing is spent, but there is no waste. It's basically recycled.
Of course, yeah, because it goes into the woman. You don't pull. You're not a pull outer. You don't pull out.
I got great pullout game. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. Well, then wouldn't that therefore devalue your committed relationship based on your argument because you're not
Nope.
sharing and recycling the Jing?
No, see this, and this is where it gets weird, is because the Jing actually has a physical and an ethereal component to it. So as long as
So
you're
as long
still
as one of them is.
as long as you're still staying in that same biofield, a bonded biofield, not a total stranger, by the way. There's
Right,
no
right.
bond there between two people who barely know each other, but two
Sometimes
people
there's
who are committed
bondage.
to each other. That's a
So
whole different app.
are you saying uh, if you don't unload into the woman and only women, right? You're saying it's only women, like two guys, that your brain actually gets destroyed and you create gray matter?
Or you lose gray matter.
I'm just trying to understand.
You want to be careful. You don't want to open up those can of worms. Otherwise, we
No,
both get
I'm just saying.
people.
You said mostly men, and you stated that it's in a relationship with a woman that's committed, and you have to relieve in her or experience. I'm just trying to understand the position so I could
Yeah.
destroy. Um, well,
It's about the connection. It's really about the
oh, so
connection.
two women could go at it, two men could go at it, a man and a woman could go at it,
If
two
I
women and
answer
a
that
man could
question the
go
way I
at it.
want to, we're both getting canceled and we'll never be on any social media
No,
platform.
no, because I'm not saying anything negative. What I'm saying
Yeah,
is
I'm gonna.
all right, so your position is stating that it must be a man and a female. I mean, a man and a woman.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes for the simple reason in terms of polarity. I'm not sitting
All
here
right, that's
judging
fine.
anybody. No, I'm condemning nobody to hell or any of
No,
that
no,
crap.
I get
I'm
it.
talking. I'm talking in terms of polarity. I'm talking in terms of polarity, positive, negative, yin and yang,
Right.
male and female. That's
Yeah, it
that's where
must
I'm
be male
keeping
and
it from.
female. And by the way, it's a man and a woman. Female is derogatory. So man and woman, right? I don't know. Uh,
You never know
but
these days.
you're also saying you're either have to spend it in her, right? You have to relieve into her.
Let's go with near her. Let's go within the
Oh,
same
so like
biofield.
you could go on her.
As long as you're close. I mean, if you're one of those guys who can actually make it from across the room, high five, awesome job. But
All right. So with that said, what if the partner you're with,
Hmm.
in your example, the woman, all right, is on the other side of the room, say 30 feet away from you, and she goes, "You know what I like? I like watching you finish on your own." She's fully dressed, and you're cranking one out for her pleasure.
Mhm.
Does that create dead gray matter and stifle your creative uh, um, your creative energy? I can't have this conversation.
I love this conversation. Are you kidding me? More people need to have it. Honest to God, I don't even know, to be
You
honest
don't
with you.
know. Well,
I don't
because
know.
if the answer is no, because you're sharing it with a woman, it's the same thing as if you're by yourself, except someone's watching you, which is a form of pornography because it's called voyeurism, which would in turn qualify the artificial pleasure because you're using a visual,
Hmm.
even though it's in person, to be pleased.
That might be a decent enough argument to make.
All right.
But
No, we're not talking about butts.
no,
And by
that's
the
a
way, it's
that's a
end.
different one.
It's
Yeah.
end. You're not
And
supposed
yeah,
to say butt. You're supposed to say end.
and um, the position I've had from the start.
Is not across the room, Nick.
Well, 400 miles away is fine.
Is phone sex, does that create gray dead matter?
That's a
It's
really,
another
really
great
great,
question, putting holes in
it's a
your
great
argument.
question.
But I'm
Now,
doing it with the woman I'm 15 years married to, and
right.
she feels lonely 3,000 miles away, and I don't know why she's in LA, and so we're just hey
Yeah.
baby, and then I'm touching myself, she's touching herself. Am I
I
am
would
I
argue.
stifling my creative energies and
I would
therefore
argue. I would
destroying my
argue.
brain?
Okay. You know, on one sense, on the physical. Hang on. I got this. I got this.
I
I
bet
got
you
this.
do. Bet
It's
you
like
do.
it's like a guy watch. It's like watching somebody carry a whole bunch of shit down the stairs and praying they don't trip. Um,
You want to open up your computer again?
no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna
I
keep
need
those tabs
science. I need
closed.
ancient science.
Yeah. Um, no, for real. This is where there's a in terms of the brain's pleasure response.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead. Yeah.
When there's no connection,
Okay.
that's hang on. When there's no
Yeah.
connection with that person, when it's purely voyeuristic.
Yeah.
All right. When there's no actual relationship, when there's no actual back and forth, it's going to create more and more walls in your mind versus when you're talking to somebody, again, they don't, you know what? Let me even say they don't have to be in the room. Let's separate the two, the physical and the energetic. All right, so energetic, you're going to spend that jing. All right, it's gone. It's off in the ether.
Yeah.
Um,
My Jing
but
is on the wall.
the jing is on the wall, in the trash can, behind the headboard, wherever the hell it landed, up
But
in
I
the
was
ceiling
thinking of my
fan.
wife,
I was thinking of my wife.
so it's okay.
But at the same, but yeah, I would say it's okay. I would say it's okay simply because the neurological pathways that you're building are still bonding with that person. The fact that there's a piece of silicone and glass in between you and her is almost incidental. If she was there, it wouldn't be as voyeuristic
Yeah.
unless she
Yeah.
really has a thing for watching you across the room. It's more about the way you form that pleasure response to one person you're bonded with, or to some midget, on Pornhub. That's the big difference. Is we're creating a negative. It's always midgets. We're creating a negative, basically a vacuum. I think is really the word I'm looking for. It's just disappearing down a hole of. God, this has been too long of a day. I can't even get my thesaurus working.
Oh, you have a dinosaur over there?
Waste. Yeah, you didn't hear it in the background?
Yeah. A dinosaur is somebody that's is a creature that's well versed in words. Uh, so to be clear,
No.
you are throwing out the original theory of you have to be near one another, and your Jing has to be within 12 inches, right? And it has to be on them
Yeah.
or in them. You're
You know,
now taking that off the table.
do you know what? Do you know why I wanted to do this?
Why?
Is because I knew you'd refine my technique. I can't say this hasn't been self-serving.
I understand, which is why. All right, so before we get to devil's advocate,
Mhm,
before to end the episode, I just want to clarify that I'm
mhm.
winning. All right, so Matthew is stating that, just to be clear, it's only porn and not necessarily an addiction to religion or an addiction to art or an addiction to wanting to be an athlete, or it's only a sexual energy addiction to porn that
And
has
hookup
the
culture.
same response as doing coke.
Let's not forget junk food.
Oh, and junk. And wait, but you're not saying junk food makes you have the coke brain damage?
I don't know. I haven't read studies on that. I have to look that up.
All right. So to be clear, only porn, only being addicted to porn, you can have sexual energy towards anything else in the world, but only sexual energy towards porn and addicted will cause the brain damage and the lack of creative energy. Is that correct?
Oh, let's not forget the hookup culture, and I mean that. You're
All right.
gonna
Well,
you're
hookup
gonna
culture. All right.
fuck someone is basically just having you're living a porno if you're
All
just
right.
fucking a stranger.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
May I? May I ask you a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you consider me highly successful?
I haven't looked at your books, but I'm going to go towards yes.
Well, by the way, I don't consider success based on a book released or a movie released or a
No, no, no.
television show released.
I mean your accounts.
Oh,
I
my
haven't
accounts. Okay.
thumbed through your accounts. I don't know what your balance is on that. But
Well, I'll define my success as making a living within my field of interest. The living is not a lifestyle. A living is affording an average monthly overhead.
Mhm.
Okay.
So then that's a
Uh,
success.
all right. I
Yeah.
do not work a day job or a survival job, and I only choose to work with people that I feel I want to because I don't have to say yes to anybody. But I am also creatively successful to the point where I am constantly working on music,
Mhm.
writing. I help people with their books. I write books, scripts, you name it. I also
Mhm.
am creative in other ways.
Mhm.
Okay, especially with business. I'm in real estate. I do all these creative things. But you're suggesting that because I masturbate constantly, all right,
Thank you for throwing that in that Airheads reference.
yeah, uh, that I'm not reaching my quote unquote full potential. Even though I definitely make more money than you
Oh, you make a
doing
ton of
nothing
money.
while sitting in my chair masturbating. All right.
You probably
And
make more in 5 minutes cranking it out than I do all day, and I'm not gonna debate you on that.
all right. And I am polyamorous. Okay. And I have multiple people in my lives. So uh, my Jing is being spent everywhere. However, I would say that none of it is hookup and none of it is casual. It's all there's a
Mm.
deep connection in all elements. But you were stating it must be a man and a woman in a committed monogamous Christianity relationship for the Jing to be healthy. Would you say? Here's my question. Okay,
Mm.
would you say my creative energy is stifled and I have brain damage? Don't answer the second part.
You
No,
you really
but
opened
serious.
yourself
But
up with the
in
second.
all seriousness, do you think
Yeah.
my brain is slow and weakened and reduced in energy and capability, and my creative energy, which I literally get paid a good chunk of money to put my time into creative endeavors? Would
Mhm.
you say those because I masturbate constantly and am polyamorous? All right,
Mhm.
okay. Would you say I have brain damage? I have gray matter, and my creative energy is not where it should be.
I would say it's not where it could be, A, number 1, and number 2, I'd say you're an outlier.
I don't agree with that position. You did that in your video. You said there's
The
the
bell curve,
curve,
yes.
right? Okay. Um, the outliers you're suggesting are the minority. But
Mhm.
I want to go back to you saying that my creative energy is not where it should be. I think could
Could.
be, could be, could
Oh,
be,
that's not a
could be.
semantical term. Should and could are 2 different
All
things.
right, could be.
Could
All
be.
right. But my stance goes back to my original point. If
Mhm.
we are addicted to anything, wouldn't that cancel out our our capability, our could of creative energy? Therefore, it's not just porn. It's I'm going to change my life for Christianity or Judaism or whatever, or I'm going to focus my life on working out 5 days a week, 2 days off. I'm going to focus my life on education. I'm going to focus my life on helping others. These things stifle your ability, as per what you said. It could be greater, but because you are spending energy elsewhere, specifically in your position, touching yourself, uh, You understand my position? What
I
I'm saying?
do, and I think we've had a miscommunication from the very start here, because everything I've said in my videos is that the what you're talking about, working out or engaging in faith or business, that's where your energy should be spent.
No.
That's where I'm going to use the word should. Is that why not get quote addicted to working out? Why not get
Well,
addicted
you're not
to
listening to me
church
then. You're not
endeavors?
listening to me then. What I am saying is your statement, your position about porn is discredited the moment you choose to give to other things. And this is what I'm saying. This is bringing me to the devil's advocate because you just brought up a good point.
No.
You stated, but mostly men. Okay? You said the way we engage with it is harmful to ourselves as humans, but mostly men because that's who I help.
And I choose to help them because they need it.
Choose to help. Well, they don't, no one needs help.
Everybody needs help.
No,
I decided to go up against you. I needed help from the fucking start.
all right. People should desire to want help or be free to accept help and also help others. But people don't need help, because if you need help, it means that without help, you're incapable. There's a level of incapableness, and that you will fail or fall. And that's why need would not be the word. No one needs help. You understand? It's like you need water. If you take water out of your life, you dehydrate, you die.
Right.
But if no one helps me, I'm still going to be capable. Right? And your argument is, well, you won't reach your fullest potential. I go, I will reach my fullest potential. It's just when I need help, the help that comes in actually elevates me to a different level of potential, which I could not have reached unless I was with another person, which means I hit my cap.
Yeah.
The next level isn't my potential, though. I hit my potential. Now I'm working with other people.
I don't see potential as finite. I see potential as infinite. And with different means and different methods, you can increase where you're at to just keep going as far as possible until they put you in the ground.
Well, yeah, with any situation, you could, like, I could be surrounded by 30 people and we could win a war versus me fighting my war. But in that war, I would hit my potential. I would probably lose, but I would, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need help to reach my potential. I need help if I want a different outcome than my potential.
I understand the words you're using more in connection to the concepts.
Yeah.
That you're going for.
All right, but let's go back. Devil's I need to devil's advocate you, okay?
Yeah, you need to devil's advocate. Yeah.
But mostly men, because those are the people I help. And as you quoted just recently, they need it, which is devaluing of a human person for a Christian. They don't need it. All right. Now, would you say you may or may not have a program that people pay to be cured of their porn addiction?
I help guys cure themselves of their porn addiction.
For free?
No.
Okay, so that brings me to the devil's advocate. You ready?
I charge for my time like anyone would.
That's not true. I don't. How often have I given you help for free? Have I ever come to your house and sat there for hours upon hours giving you information? My theater. How often did I bring people into the theater and help them for free? Give them the space on the stage for free? See, the thing is, if you want to help people, it shouldn't be about money, right?
Well, it's not about money.
It's not about money, right?
No, but you got to live. I got to keep the lights on. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but my point is,
I mean, I'm a massage therapist. I help people. I can't do that for free. You know, like I need to be compensated for my time.
Yeah, but you get an extra $50 for a happy ending.
I'm a lot more expensive than that.
For the happy ending? How much do you charge for the happy ending?
I mean, I'm not gonna say what the price is, but come on, everybody's got a price.
All right. What I'm doing with the devil's advocate here is not to put you on the spot. It's not a got you. But I'm saying, is your position based on creating, and you might not agree with this, but the
Mhm.
position is about creating the fear that porn is damaging to the brain and stifles your creativity, and you should be, because you said the statement, you should be giving that energy to God or giving that energy to working out or giving, but what if the energy you give it to whatever it is, the life you want, makes you happy? Do they, do you get your gray matter and your brain? That's the part I don't agree with,
Okay.
is that you're saying that porn or an addiction to self-pleasure literally gives you brain damage, because that's what gray matter is,
Yes.
especially the holes you posted, right? And you tagged me in it, suggesting that I would even partially believe this.
I was only tagging you in response. It was my response videos.
Well, I know, but
Yeah.
you didn't answer any of my questions within my. But anyway,
Try.
no, you went on a pitch tangent. You did a pitch. Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm a marketer. Of course I
Tell
did.
me I'm wrong. But that's what I'm
No.
saying. That's why I was like, we're debating, because you're not debating a stance of health. You're debating a position of pitch.
Mhm.
So
'Cause
that's why.
I'm trying to do I'm trying to do the best I can in the world, man. I want to leave the world better than I found it, and I have a lot of work ahead of me.
Well, that statement is fair, by the way.
Thank you.
But I would push back that helping
Mhm.
people not enjoy themselves is not necessarily making the world better. It's just in your view of what
Mhm.
is bad, you're placing a dark cloud over uh, what is pleasure, which is my argument. Is like, I
Mhm.
porn itself and pleasure and enjoying intimacy with other people, especially if it's not a woman, or if you're in a multi-relationship, an open relationship, or a polyamory, to suggest that these people are literally causing brain damage and their capability is being stifled because of their love or passion or hobbies or joy, is what I'm pushing back on that
Okay.
stance.
Okay.
And I feel I have adequately, oh my God,
Alex,
my
third
dyslexia,
time.
my
Give
dyslexia.
it a shot.
No, it's not happening. Adequately, Jesus, it's coming out. It's because I'm hyper excited. I
I
have, I have proved my point, because I'm disproving the concepts, right? And you're saying, no, it's a rare person. You're an outlier. Like Ricky Gervais is a rare example. But now, what about The
Ben
Rock?
Franklin is a rare example, as you brought up on TikTok.
Benjamin Franklin is.
Benjamin Franklin is a rare breed indeed.
I know you were like, oh yeah, him. He's an outliner, and you're like, I'm gonna do a video on outlining. But like, my point is, there are more people successful in the world that we may not have heard of, because success is not about celebrity. Okay,
Mhm. Yeah.
that absolutely prove this theory wrong. Because in reality, wouldn't most people be walking around as zombies or like inactive?
Well, honest to God, and this may be subjective, but
Yeah. Go ahead.
look around the world. Most people don't live up to their potential. Let's be honest. Most people just coast through life. Most people are zombies. Go to Walmart sometime,
Yeah,
and
I
you're
used to go to church.
that's a good one.
I'm just
But the
saying,
problem,
I was brought up Christian,
yeah,
converted. No, I was brought up Catholic, forced into Christianity, broke free of that, found my truth. And in all those situations, by the way, I'm not saying Catholicism or Christianity is bad. I love all religions. Um,
no,
but my
I hear
experience,
you loud and clear.
yeah, my experience though, when you're sitting there and they're all like, as I walk through the shadow of the valley of the, and they're all and like the priest starts a sermon and everyone knows the words. It's such a occult, scary experience, but there's nothing wrong with what they're doing because they love what they're doing.
Yeah.
but they are experiencing the same addictions to the things that people become addicted to, the joys. I became addicted to music to a point where my fingers bled, that I
Mhm.
had to be playing. I didn't work as much. But you're saying, well, that I could have, my potential to work better could have been improved if I stopped playing guitar. But you know what I discovered by playing guitar more? I
Mm.
discovered that working a job is not how you make money.
Yeah, working a job sucks. I really think most jobs will rob people of their potential anyway. You and I aren't going to disagree on that. I want to.
Go
Okay.
ahead. Do
Literally,
you still stand by your point that porn or or any form of addiction of joy and pleasure literally destroys the brain and stifles your creative energies?
I want porn to. I will stand by. I will stand by that. I
Wait,
want
wait,
porn
go
to be
back to what you were
seen.
going to say. You just want porn to vanish.
No, I didn't say that. Let
Oh,
me
so you
finish.
like porn being in the world?
I want porn to be seen as dangerous as coke and meth and
Okay.
heroin. I want it to be put in those categories. That's what I want. I want if people are going to engage in it, they should understand the risks.
Like
It
weed.
should be thought of that
Like
way.
weed is really bad. Like those, like we should have commercials like the weed commercial where you go, weed will, you get addicted to weed and it'll kill you and it'll make you rob from your
Nobody,
family. Remember those
nobody needs.
commercials?
Yeah, nobody
Remember
needs
the
scare
war against
tactics.
drugs?
Yeah, yeah, because that's why I said in one of my earlier videos, it's like, oh, so what do we do? Make porn illegal? I'm like, yeah, that worked for drugs, didn't it? No, I think a balanced approach where people understand the risks inherent to the substance. And honestly, porn may be immaterial, especially nowadays, it's all digital. But if people understood exactly what they were getting into, what the long-term effects are, which for the first time now we actually have long-term studies, 20, 30-year studies of people who have been addicted to pornography since they were in their teens. We have actually finally have the chance to do those studies and see what the long-term damage is when copious amounts of porn are put before us, and it really does divert, it really does distract, it makes people lazy and apathetic, and just like weed, and it really needs
Just
to be
like
put out
weed.
there. So everybody should at least have the knowledge. And I don't care if you flounced me here on every technical detail.
Wait,
If
wait,
I could
wait,
at
wait,
least
wait,
get
wait,
that
wait.
one point across, is that if you're going to do it, be aware of the dangers. Don't think of it as just harmless fun.
I think I understand what your actual position is. It's,
And that is,
you think people shouldn't watch porn, but porn itself does not give you brain damage and stifle your creativity. And to add to that,
mm,
the the act of being addicted to porn, which you can be addicted to anything. You literally could be addicted to anything. So your position is not necessarily saying if you watch porn, your brain isn't going to rot away and you're going to be useless. You're saying if you're addicted to porn and it takes over your life, it's going to make you less uh, capable of being your full potential.
and I would say even to a lesser, I mean, yeah, obviously there's a scale of degree.
So I can watch porn.
I know plenty of people who could go to a party like, once in a while, do a couple lines of coke and then go home and then go to work the next day and nothing happens. And I have friends who have died from it. Like, so there's a scale of damage, obviously,
All right.
but
So
that
would you
should,
like to amend your statement? Porn is dangerous
yes.
and basically acts on the brain like a hard or light drug. You have to amend that to being addicted to anything, including porn, could potentially be dangerous and basically has the effects on the brain as hard and light drug addictions.
I'll refine it.
But you understand what I'm saying? Because your
I
your
do.
position
I
right now is not true, and we've proved that in this episode. Do you
I think you
understand?
froze for a second.
No, no,
Okay, all right,
I
there you go.
froze because I was waiting for a response of delight that I helped you.
I lost the signal for a second. Yeah.
All I'm saying is that statement, porn is dangerous and basically acts on the brain like a hard or light drug, is not necessarily accurate. And the reason it's not accurate is because You literally just said it. Well, there's different levels. Someone could go do coke and be fine. Someone, right? So someone could kind of like watch porn once in a while. They can meet somebody and make love to them once, and their brain isn't literally going to melt out of their head and form
Okay.
holes. And
Right.
they're going to get home and be like, I have zero motivation to do anything because I looked at a girl's tit on my phone.
Okay, so I have to, you know what? Honestly, if I had to pay you for this position, I couldn't afford it because you may be more dangerous in the war against porn. You know that, baby?
Look, I would rather you have a practical, honest stance
Yeah.
than
And
a
I do.
stance of damage. Like this stance, you're basically crucifying anybody who has a joy. That is, you know what I'm saying? Like if their
Yeah.
pleasure centers raise slightly higher than what you seem conventional, their brain is forming holes and gray matter, and they're gonna be like, I don't even want to do anything anymore. Like this, like when I saw that video, I was like,
Yeah.
this is a black and white extreme. It is this or nothing. That's what that video was. So that's why I wrote my comment.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I'm not saying your position on I would like to eradicate porn to a point where people at least understand the because I want to help people, not because like you say in your videos, I'm not saying anything that's not on the internet.
Mhm.
You used to
Yeah.
be addicted to porn, an alcoholic,
Mhm.
and you found peace and light in your faith and getting those things out of your life.
Mm.
There's nothing wrong with that statement. In fact, I commend you for finding the strength to rid yourself of things that were not conducive to your
Thank you. Yeah.
creative energies, right? But to suggest that the world and all that encompasses, except for the Outlanders, cannot indulge in nudity or because the juice will fall out of their nose as their brains melt because they walked past a naked picture on a wall and they were like, oh, that's kind of nice. And they're like, oh no, I
They're
had so
fucking
much to
scanners.
do this year and now I can't do anything because my creative energies have been stifled. Oh, Matt, please, where can I hire you to cure me of this hard you
Dreaded affliction. I do. And honestly, I appreciate you helping me refine it so I
right,
can make better, clearer statements because I will not give up what is honest to God a crusade for me.
that's
Not
fine
gonna
for it
not
to be
gonna
a
hide that
crusade.
fact either. Yeah.
However, would you like to agree that your original statement is indeed a logical fallacy?
Okay, if I do, hang on. I got an AR in my closet. Give me 1 second.
I'm not saying your goal in life is a
No, I
logical
get it.
fallacy. I'm
No, I
saying
get
the
it. No, you're right.
statement, your
Okay.
position.
Thomas, you're right. My original statement. Fuck.
Wait, 1 second. 1 second. I just for the record, let's go ahead.
Thomas, you're right. My original statement was overstated, oversimplified, and needs continuous refinement.
I would like you to state that it was incorrect.
See, now I feel like I'm in a porno. He's gonna watch this later and beat off. We all know this.
My jing is going right now. Look, the way the show ends, one of us has to admit to you have to concede that your statement is not your original position.
My original position was incorrect.
So you concede?
I concede.
All right, I'm the winner. Okay, that's all I needed. I just needed to feel that. Now, you know what? My creative energies just feel so inflamed. Like I'm addicted to the victory.
$10.
Wait. I feel holes in my brain. I feel holes. The pleasure holes.
Because of that massive erection under your desk.
What are you talking about? I'm not talking into a mic. This is my erection. All right. I do want to say though, Matt, I know we don't talk all the time, but I've always appreciated you. I've always loved you. I always thought you were a good person. definitely from the heart. And like you have amazingly good intentions. And this episode was not to attack your character, because your character to me is I think you're a good person. That's right off the bat.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah, I wasn't here to demolish or diminish your mission
Mhm.
or your faith. The only goal I had was to win the argument. No, but seriously,
Yeah.
because the statement to me, it was so black or white, and there
Yeah.
was no leeway, no room
Mhm.
uh, to allow others in the world to not have brain death. So I appreciate you conceding.
Mhm.
I already made a bet with myself uh, that I would win, and oddly enough, uh, this was not edited. I don't edit the videos.
I
It's
don't.
just an hour of. By the way, it went longer than 30 minutes. Um, is there anything you want to say? Do you want to say how people can find your website and stuff?
Well, first, I want to again thank you, and I mean that when I say when I say that, you and I think back to sitting back at the Rose and talking with you and debating with you, and I always learned a lot. I learned a lot. I was at when you knew me originally, like I was at a critical juncture in my life. A lot was shifting, a lot was changing. So I do appreciate you being there, being one of those characters that did teach me. I think you are actually a genuinely generous spirit. It's all that extra zing you've got.
Makes
But
me an outlet.
seriously, thank you, because you make this, and this is again why I really wanted to do this, is because I knew, with your intellect and your authenticity, I would actually get a lot more out of it. And if I had to let my ego get kicked around quite extensively, then it was a small price to pay, and I appreciate you sincerely. How you can find my dumbass is mostly on Instagram, sometimes on TikTok. I do not post there regularly, but Instagram and TikTok, it's at Heroes Breath, HeroSBreath. Those are my brand pages. That's where I kind of just post like random memes and stuff to just get the ideas out. That's kind of like my muse. If you want actual information about what I do, how to find me, all that other stuff, the important stuff, that's on Instagram at mentor_Matthew_Huttle, Huttle. And that's how you can also approach me for coaching services as well.
And you have a website, right?
Oh, yes.
Heroesbreath.com.
I always forget the site is at heroesbreath.com.
The website is your storefront. You're supposed to send everyone there.
Fucking,
Yeah.
there's a Telegram and there's other things.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think about all that shit before I think about my website.
Carrier pigeons. I will say this
Try it.
for anyone listening to the show on Spotify or watching this on YouTube. All this information will be in the description as well. So, I'll probably have mostly just the website. You go to the website, you can find everything he
Yeah.
has to offer.
The website, the link tree is really all anyone needs anymore.
Yeah, link tree it up. I'm old fashioned. I believe in the website methodology, because that's how I make money. Instead of sending people to 7 different locations.
Yeah, I know. It's getting scattered these days. I think we're all going to go back to using websites and nothing else eventually.
Well, it's all about emotional choices. So if
Yeah.
you have a website, if someone wants to find you and they choose to go to your website, it's an emotional choice. And every emotional choice they do, they make another connection to your brand. So if they go to the website and then they're like, oh, you know what? I want to follow them on Twitter. Now they go to Twitter. That's a second emotional choice. Whereas with Twitter is more of a one-stop shop. So you go and you're like, all right, I got them on Twitter.
You just scroll and go.
Yeah. But the website, they get to read up on you. They get to see your stuff that's going on. So it's all about getting them to choose to read things. That's why you're supposed to have multiple pages and not actually have what's known as a one sheet, because the one sheet you can scroll down and you're not making choices. You're not making a choice to go to a different page, and then you have the pattern interrupt where the page changes. So that allows your brain to restart. And then, but anyway. That's neither here nor here. All right. Let me do the goodbyes. What? Yeah.
Let's just teach more martial arts. This is great.
You can watch all the episodes. You can go watch. I don't make this stuff up. It'll teach you how to be a celebrity. All right. Anyway, all right. Hey, again, I want to thank Heroes Breath's CEO and founder, Mr. Matthew Huttle. It was an absolute pleasure to have him on as a guest. And as always, Let Me Be Round with You is all about having a compassionate conversation that's open. There's no attacking. It's all friendly laughs, even when people don't agree and we disagree hardly. It's really about hearing the other side of the debate or the conversation. And of course, it is nice to win occasionally. I am now 1-0. Really, it's 100-0. But my point is, I would like to say that learn to communicate with one another. It's all about conversation. You don't have to be right. You don't have to be wrong. You just need to listen sometimes. So I'll see you next time on Let Me Be Around with You.
Oh dear,